with the probability of default. From here you get the probability of the amount that can go to default. This probability is multiplied by EAD. Then you get the NPA value. And this NPA value is multiplied by LGD. Then you get the expected loss value. Okay. Now, this case study number 46 came in the paper. In this case, this is the exact case study that came in the paper. With the values will be different. There was a mistake in the first question. So in this case study, I have not improved, I have not made any change in the mistake, just because to tell you that you should be able to figure out in case he gives you a wrong question. Now, what is this question? He says he has given the default probability of advances portfolio of Amtex Bank. So this is for a 3-year loan. If you understand the chart first, if you give a 3-year loan to a AAA rated customer, then probability of default is 0.4%, 0.04. If this 3-year loan is to a BBB customer, then it is 1.2%. If it to a CCC customer, it is 45%. If it is a 5-year loan to a AA rated, it is 0.5. BB 10, CCC 50, like that. Okay. So this is the first box. After that, he says that MCLR or Amtex Bank has an MCLR of 9%. At that time, we used to have an MCLR below which no bank can give any loan. For AAA rated category borrowers, what does this mean? For a period of 3 years. This means that, let us say this is AAA, this is AA, this is A, this is BBB, BB, B, C, like that. So this is the borrower. So if he wants a 3-year loan or if he wants a 5-year loan. Can you see what I'm writing on the screen in the red pen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, he says,
Yes, sir.
Hanji, sir, okay. He says Amtex Bank has an MCLR of 9% to AAA category borrower for 3-year loan. That means to AAA borrower for 3-year loan, you can give at 9%. Okay. Then he says, bank adds a load factor of 1% to MCLR for AA, 2% for A. That means to AA, 1% load factor, 9 plus 1, 10%. A, 11%, like that. Is that clear? समझ आ रहा है कि नहीं? Okay. This becomes 12%. 9 plus 3, 12%. This becomes 13%. Like this. Alright? समझ आ रहा है जी कि नहीं आ रहा? मेरी आवाज धीरे आ रही है यार? I'm speaking at my usual tone.
Yes, sir. Yes. Voice is low, sir.
Hold on. आप अपने check the volume of your mic. हाँ जी, मेरी आवाज आ रही है प्रॉपर? हेलो?
हाँ सर, अब ठीक है, अब ठीक है।
हाँ जी, अपने जिसको आवाज लो आ रही है, प्लीज चेक द वॉल्यूम ऑफ योर लैपटॉप स्पीकर ऑल्सो। नाउ एक तो ये हो गया। Then he says the load factor is further increased by 0.5% per year for repayment period of more than 3 years. That means if the repayment period is 4 years and this is for 5 years. So if the repayment period is for 4 years, this becomes 9.5. And this becomes 10. Is that clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, here it will become 10.5. And this will become 11. समझ आ गया? What is the load factor? That means when you are changing the ratings from AAA to AA, you are increasing by 1%. And when you are going to the right, this is plus 0.5%.
So load factor of 1%, no?
मैम ये एक लोड फैक्टर है, ठीक है, और ये है आपका फर्दर इंक्रीज बाय 0.5% फॉर पीरियड मोर देन 3 years. That means when you are going from 3-year loan to 4-year loan, you add 0.5%, and from 4-year to 5-year again add 0.5%. Is it okay or not?
Okay, sir.
Now, see the first question. Now, I'm going to erase this thing what I've written here. Okay? Have you understood this thing?
सर इसमें 4 years तो नहीं दिया हुआ है, 3 और 5 year ही दिया है ना सिर्फ.
तो सर उसने लिखा नहीं ना फॉर मोर देन 3 years, हर एवरी ईयर पर ईयर 0.5% पर ईयर रीपेमेंट पीरियड फॉर मोर देन 3 years. सो 3 के बाद 4 year आएगा ना सर. ओके. नाउ फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन, which of the following loan will have a highest expected loss? Now understand one thing, this is a wrong question. He wanted to ask you which of the following loan has highest probability of default. He wanted to ask you this thing, but he gave you in a wrong way known as expected loss. Why it is wrong, I'll tell you. Yesterday when we were doing the question, first we multiplied the exposure with PD. From this we got probability. Okay. Then this probability was multiplied by EAD. Oh, sorry, EAD. Then we got NPA. Then this NPA is multiplied by LGD. Then we got expected loss. Okay, so that means if you want to calculate expected loss, you need the value of EAD also, you need the value of LGD also. But in this question or before that, there is no mention of EAD, there is no mention of LGD. So before this question, there is only and only mention of PD. Are you understanding me, what I'm saying? ठीक है. तो ये देखो what he is doing, he says 500 crore or lakh loan for 3-year to A-rated borrower. 3-year to A-rated borrower, so probability of default is 0.4%. So that means 500 into 0.4 is 2 lakh. Thank you. Okay, that means 500 into 0.4 is 2 lakh. So basically he wanted to ask you probability of default, but he wrote it wrongly as expected loss. समझ आ गया? This question came like this. So when you will calculate the probability of default on all the 4 loans, tell me which loan will have the highest probability of default. Tell me.
सर इसमें जो 500 कहाँ से है क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 में?
500 ऑप्शन में गिवन है सर.
ऑप्शन देखो यार. हाँ जी. If you see clearly, answer will be option number D. 2700 lakh given for a 5-year loan to AA rated. So 5-year loan to AA rated is 0.5%. So 27 lakh into 0.5% is 13.5 lakh. Clearly, option D has the highest amount which can default. So answer is option number D. Is that clear? Haan ji?
सर क्वेश्चन में जो यहाँ पे दिया हुआ है केस स्टडी में हाईएस्ट पीडी ही लिखा हुआ है, एक्सपेक्टेड लॉस नहीं लिखा।
मैम आप गलत केस स्टडी खोल के बैठे हो, आप केस स्टडी 46 खोलिए।
जी सर 46
में वो चीज है।
Okay, please listen to me then. The question came like this. In the question they gave expected loss, but this was wrong. Correct was probability of default. So what happened when we updated the book? होता क्या कि book जब खत्म हो जाती है, we send it for reprinting. So we make the corrections. So in the updated book that you all got, we have written this as probability of default. Okay, but I have this soft copy. This is my old soft copy. So this has expected loss, which I always tell you that the question came like this. So that when you are in the paper, if you encounter this question, you should be aware that not to fall in their trap. Okay?
मेरी बुक में सर हाईएस्ट पीडी है।
सर मैंने अभी तो बोल रहा हूं ना सर कि मैंने ये बुक चेंज हो गई ना। हम जब बुक प्रिंट करते हैं, बुक खत्म हो जाती है, रीप्रिंटिंग के लिए जाती है, तो हम उसमें करेक्शंस कर देते हैं, जो भी कोई करेक्शन होती है, जो भी कोई एडिशनल चीज आती है। ठीक है, तो ये मेरी जो सॉफ्ट कॉपी है, मैंने उसमें करेक्शन नहीं की, बुक में करेक्शन कर दी थी, इसलिए आपको यहाँ पे पीडी दिख रहा है। ओके, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन। The bank has given a loan of 500 lakh to a A-rated company for 5 years. Account has been regular for 2 years. There is no default. That means 2 years have already passed. So 2 years are over. Present outstanding in the loan is 350 lakh. EAD is 100. LGD is 60. What is the expected loss? Now to calculate expected loss, you will first of all, you have to multiply the exposure. How much is the exposure? 350 lakh with PD. Now the question is, which PD will you take? Tell me. It is a A-rated company, but will you take the PD for a 5-year loan or a 3-year loan? Tell me. What is it?
3 years.
3-year loan, because effective is 3 years. Okay, because 2 years have already passed, so 2 years is over. Now you will see that for this loan, for next 3 years, what is the probability of default? Is that clear? So you will simply check that the probability of default for a A-rated loan for 3 years is 0.4%. So here you will do this first. Whatever is the exposure, you will multiply it by 0.4%. So whatever will be the probability, you will multiply by EAD. How much is EAD in this case? In this case, EAD is 100%. 60%. So this is EAD is 100%. From here, you will get the NPA value. Then this NPA value will be multiplied by LGD 60%. And then you will get the expected loss. Please solve it. Solve it and tell me the answer. Don't read it, solve it, please. This full 5-mark case study has come at least 3 times in the paper.
सी।
एक्सक्यूज मी सर,
हाँ जी
पीडी हम लोग
बोलिए,
से निकले थे, इसलिए
क्या कह रहे हो?
मैं पूछ रही हूँ कि जो पीडी हमने 0.40 लिया है सर,
हाँ जी,
वो इसलिए है क्योंकि अभी सिर्फ 2 years ही मींस लाइक
मैम इधर देखो, इधर सुनो सुनो, 5 साल का लोन दिया था, 5 साल में से 2 साल तो खत्म हो गए। उसने बोला ना कि अकाउंट वाज रेगुलर फॉर 2 years, देयर वाज नो डिफॉल्ट, तो 2 साल तो खत्म हो गए। अब कितने साल रह गए? 3 साल रह गए ना। तो आप 3 साल के हिसाब से सब कुछ देखोगे ना मैम, 2 साल तो खत्म हो गए, इट इज अ पास्ट नाउ। Okay, next question. So in this case, this is the calculation, answer is 84,000. Is it clear to everyone? Next, question number 3. Bank wants to sanction a loan to a AA rated borrower payable in 5 years. What interest rate should it charge? So simple hai. This I already have told you that this is a AAA rated borrower. This is AA. This is for 3-year loan. This is for 4-year loan. This is for 5-year loan. So AAA borrower for 3 years is 9%. This will be 1% load factor. AA will be for 3 years will be 10%. And on the right you increase by 0.5% every year. So AA for 4 years will be 10.5. And for 5 years will be 11%. That's it. Is it clear?
सर ये कैसे कर दिया वो समझ नहीं आया। 10%, 10.5 और 11%।
सर ये देखो ना, मैंने पहले ये चार्ट पूरा बताया। आप लेट ज्वाइन किया था क्लास सर आपने? सर क्लास लेट ज्वाइन की थी?
हाँ सर लेट तो ज्वाइन की थी।
हाँ तो फिर पूरा चार्ट तो, हाँ तो सर पूरा चार्ट तो आपने मिस कर दिया ना। पूरा चार्ट मैंने पहले एक्सप्लेन किया है, पूरा मैंने डिटेल में बनाया नीचे तक। तो ये लोड फैक्टर है कि AAA बोरोर को 9% पे अगर आपने 9% लोन देना, एक AAA बोरोर है उसको 3 साल का लोन देना है तो 9% चार्ज करोगे। और अगर वो AA करोगे तो उसमें 1% का MCLR में लोड फैक्टर ऐड हो जाएगा, तो 9 की जगह 10 हो जाएगा। और अगर 3 साल की जगह 4 साल करोगे तो आधा % बढ़ जाएगा, और अगले साल फिर से आधा बढ़ जाएगा। तो AAA से AA आए तो 9 का 10 हो गया, और 3 साल से 4 साल में गया 10 का 10.5 हो गया, और 4 साल से 5 साल पे 10.5 का 11 हो गया। So in this case, what is my answer? In this case, my answer is 11%. Is that clear or not? Everybody, is it okay? Next question. Taking into account the above risk policy of the bank, which loan will earn the lowest return? Simple सी बात है, lowest return तो फिर वही है, MCLR 9% for AAA for 3 years. Because this is the minimum you are charging. Yes or no? समझ आ रहा है जी कि नहीं?
यस सर।
सर ये ऑप्शन में P B D क्यों डाल दिया, ये कंफ्यूज करना।
सर अगर सपोज करो वो AAA for 3 years ना देता, then you would have to calculate for each year. फिर आप देखते हैं आज ये BBB है, this is not, this is BBB, this is not, this is BBB. Okay, so then you would have to calculate for every year कि BBB rated loan को 5 year के लिए how much rate of interest will charge. Then you will compare all the 4 options, whichever is the lowest you would have selected. Next, question number 5. As on March 31st, the bank, क्या बोल रहे हो?
4th एक बार दोबारा से बता दोगे सर?
सर सबसे कम इंटरेस्ट कौन सा होगा? अगर आप ध्यान से देखो, हमने चार्ट बनाया था, तो सबसे कम इंटरेस्ट तो आप सिर्फ और सिर्फ AAA को ही लगाते हो, 9% का 3 साल के लिए। बाकी तो हर इंटरेस्ट ज्यादा है ना। AA हो जाएगा तो ये दिस विल बी 10, 4 year हो जाएगा तो दिस विल बी 9.5. So the lowest is for AAA 3%, 3 years. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
चलिए, now last question. On March 31st, bank had 250 triple B rated accounts, out of which 10% defaulted. That means out of 250, 25 defaulted. The increase in number of accounts in default categories by. Now he has not given us anything that ki pehle there were some defaults or not. So in this case, we will simply select answer as 25. Okay. Have you understood this question? Now read this case study number 47 right now on your own, right now. Type done once you've done this case study.
Done, sir.
All right.
Sir, comment.
Hello, sir. Hanji, shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Chलिए, now let us move back to our kit. So in the kit, we were on this page number.
Okay, to explain question number 3. Question number 3.
Yes, ma'am, tell me.
सर इसकी टेबल बनवा देते हैं, फिर हम कर लेते।
सर टेबल में क्या बनाना है इसमें बताओ?
टेबल तो इजी है सर,
सेम टेबल है। ट्रिपल ए बोरोवर को 9.5% देना है।
थोड़ा सा पिछला क्वेश्चन नहीं देख पाए थे ना, इसलिए कह रहा हूँ सेम क्वेश्चन है।
This is same question. चलिए, yes मैम, क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 में क्या नहीं समझ आया? टेल मी।
Sir, 2% plus 9.5, totally 11.5% for 3 years, right? 11.5 plus 1%, it should be 12.5, no?
No, मैम, ये देखो ना, to a triple A rated borrower for 3 years. This is 3, this is 4, and this is 5 years. For 3 year, to MCLR you are charging 9.5 to AAA customer for 3 year loan. That means this is 9.5. And load factor is 0.5 for additional year and 1% going down. So, kiska nikalna hai? We have to calculate for AA. For AA, this will be 10.5. For 4 years, this will be 11.5. This will be 11, and for 5 years, this will be 11.5. See? Got it, ma'am, or not?
Yes, sir.
Chaliye, shall we proceed now?
Yes, sir.
Now, move on to, come back to page number 30.
और ये 11% नहीं आएगा इसमें?
यार गुरप्रीत जी 3 साल का 9.5 है, 3 साल से 4 साल पे जाओगे तो कितना लोड फैक्टर इंक्रीज हो रहा है? 0.5 इंक्रीज हो रहा है। 4 साल से 5 साल में जाओगे तो कितना होएगा? 0.5 और हो जाएगा। तो 9.5 में 0.5 डालोगे 10, सॉरी 10.5 में 0.5 11 में आधा और बढ़ाओगे 11.5। सिंपल सा टेबल है यार। हाँ जी, नेक्स्ट, क्रेडिट रिस्क कंट्रोल एंड मॉनिटरिंग सिस्टम।
पेज नंबर सर
30. Everybody, I request you please join on time first of all. ठीक है। Secondly, please pay full attention in the class. 2 घंटे की क्लास होती है। Please give me full attention, 100% attention, and please join on time. Now, if you miss something, तो यार 3 बार मैं बता चुका हूं यार, 30 पेज नंबर 3-4 बार बता चुका हूं। आप ध्यान से सुनिए ना प्लीज। हाँ जी, credit risk control and monitoring. Now we have done identification of credit risk. We have done measurement of credit risk. Now we are going to talk about how to control credit risk. This is the last part of credit risk. ठीक है, another 45 minutes of a credit risk will be over. So he says कि first you have credit risk policies and guidelines at transactional level. So first you will identify the risk. That is your appraisal process. Okay, then sanction process. Then you will go for periodic reviews that your account is going fine. Monitoring, rectification, recovery. ये कुछ नहीं है. Simply इसको read कर लो. This you all know all this. Then he says there are prudential limits. prudential limits for financial and profitability ratios. Like when we were doing ABM, हमने किया नहीं था what is the ideal liquidity ratio, ideal debt equity ratio, all these things. Then you have prudential limits for large exposure. What are these? So wait, I'll show you. ये देखिए that take a screenshot of this thing. This is the latest thing that we say that this one to a single counterparty you cannot give 20% of your more than 20% of your entire capital. Group of connected counterparties 25%. Exceptional cases an additional 5%. Single NBFC 20. Group of connected NBFC 25. Okay, bus. These are prudential norms on large exposures, so that you do not take concentration risk in one borrower. Yeah, देखो, biggest concentration risk you all are facing is Adani Group right now. ये कोई time होता था लोग परवाह नहीं करते थे. Banks had too much exposure in Anil Ambani Group, and you see Anil Ambani Group is bankrupt now. ठीक है, how much money banks have lost? Why? Because of lot of exposure. Okay. And the same cases now is going to happen with Adani. Because if you see how he raises capital, वो क्या करता है, एक कंपनी बड़ी ले ली, उसमें खूब सारा लोन ले लिया, फिर उस कंपनी के शेयर्स दूसरी कंपनी में प्लेज कर दिए, उसके अगेंस्ट बैंक से जाके फिर लोन ले लिया. एंड ये दिस चेन इज गोइंग ऑन. सो जिस दिन एक कंपनी उसकी फंस गई, सारी फंस जाएंगी. The level of debt is too much. So this is a credit risk nobody is bothered about. This is a very big credit risk. And if something happens to the Adani Group, you will see that many banks will be in trouble, and not small. That will be a very serious trouble. Then prudential limits on asset concentration. Then prudential limits on maturity profile of the loan book. ये proper matching हो ALM वगैरह की, everything is credit risk. You might get a 1 mark theory question from here, might, but main question comes from here. Credit risk mitigation. In credit risk mitigation, he says we have two strategies. One is how do we mitigate credit risk at transactional level? Okay, so this question comes. So in transaction level, we have three ways to save ourselves from credit risk. What do you do in the bank? When you give a loan, you take a collateral in form of mortgage or some other securities. Second, you tell the party, the borrower, to arrange for a third party guarantee, and you stipulate cash margins. If he needs 1 crore, you say I will give you 80 lakhs, you put 20 lakhs. Okay, so this question comes in the paper as it is. Then second, this question also comes, how do you mitigate credit risk at portfolio level? At portfolio level, first is you can diversify. I have explained you diversification? Yes or no? Different type of products, put some money in real estate, put some in shares, put in bonds, okay, put in REITs, then different types of shares, different type of bonds, real estate at different location, different countries. Second is asset securitization. Now, what is this securitization? This is a very important concept. You need to understand this. You will not understand by reading anything. So I have a very simple example for you. You will learn a lot from that example. So now let us say this is a small bank. Give me a name of some small bank. Any small bank?
UCO.
UCO Bank small है? UCO Bank is a good bank. It is not that small.
Yeah. Capital small.
चलो UCO ही ले लेते हैं. अब आपने UCO बोल दिया. So let us say this is the balance sheet of UCO Bank. Let us say this is the balance sheet of UCO Bank. ठीक है? UCO Bank here has given home loans. This is UCO Bank. It has given home loans of 10,000 crore, which will mature after 15 years to A-rated borrowers. Let us say at rate of interest is 10%.
सर वॉइस सुनाई नहीं दे रहा आपका.
ये मेरी आवाज नहीं आ रही?
आ रही है सर.
क्लियर है सर.
ऑडिबल सर, ऑडिबल.
ओके सर. हाँ ओके सर. ओके हाँ जी, हो गया जी, हो गया यार, हो गया. हाँ जी. Now UCO Bank has given 10,000 crore home loans to A-rated borrowers for 15 years maturity period at 10%. The problem with UCO Bank is that this money, this 10,000 crore is now locked. It will come back to UCO Bank after 15 years. Yes or no? Okay. Now let us say UCO Bank has some cash which is less, or let us say cash थोड़ा UCO Bank के पास less cash है. Let us say there is not enough cash, and this is the loan book of UCO Bank. Loan book is, let us say, 1 lakh crore, out of which 10,000 crores is your home loans. These home loans, right? Now UCO wants cash. So what are the options? Option number 1 is UCO can raise deposits. This is option number 1. But इसमें then UCO has to maintain CRR and SLR also. But if UCO needs, let us say UCO wants cash of rupees 10,000 crores. Fine. So if 10,000 crore cash UCO needs, So if he takes deposits for 10,000 crore, he will have to, UCO will have to, it will have to put some money in CRR and SLR also. So approximately, UCO will have to raise around 14,000 crores. Yes or no? Then only after maintaining CRR, SLR, UCO can use 10,000 crore remaining. What about the interest cost? Interest cost will be so high. Profit will be low. This is option number 1. What is the second option?
Sorry, UCO has to raise 14,000 crore.
Approximately मैम 14,000 करोड़ रेज करेगा तो 14,000 करोड़ का 3% CRR रखेगा, ओके 18% 20% के करीब SLR रखेगा, so then only 13,000 लगा लो approximately.
Okay, 10,000 plus CRR, SLR, approximately 14,000.
Approximately 14 or 13, approximately. Okay.
Fine.
So second option what UCO Bank has is UCO can go for securitization. Now let us see what is securitization. Here what UCO will do, now please understand this, don't write anything. UCO has given these home loans at 10% for 10,000 crore home loans, 15 years maturity to A-rated borrowers. This money is locked for 15 years. UCO goes to an investment bank. So this is an investment bank. So SPV, Special Purpose Vehicle. This is an investment bank. This investment bank can be, example can be Citibank. This can be Goldman Sachs. Have you heard this name, Goldman Sachs? It is one of the biggest investment banks in the world. So, ये कहेगा यार, do you want to buy my loan? So Goldman Sachs says, yes, I will buy your loans. So they have a deal that UCO says, I will sell you the loans at 8%. He says, I have done all the hard work, 10% I will get, I will keep 2% with me and pass 8% interest on to you. Is that clear? UCO Bank says done. Means Goldman Sachs also agrees. He says done. Now, where will Goldman Sachs get this 10,000 crore to pay to UCO Bank? Goldman Sachs क्या करेगा? He will do the matching of these loans with some bonds. He will issue bonds. Now see, 10,000 crore bonds, 10,000 crore loans. A-rated loans, A-rated bond. 15-year maturity of the loan, 15-year maturity of the bonds. So this investment bank, Goldman Sachs, will issue these bonds in foreign markets like US, Europe, and he will say that I am giving these bonds to you at 5%, or let us say 5 लगा देते हैं, चलो 5%. These people are so happy. These, and who are we selling these bonds to? Qualified institutional buyers. These can be FIIs, mutual funds, banks, pension funds, hedge funds, foreign investors. This can be in US, Europe, etc. Okay, these people don't get good interest. Even if we offer them, let us say 4%, they will be so happy. So these QIB says that we want to buy these bonds because they are buying the bonds from whom? They are buying the bonds from Goldman Sachs. And Goldman Sachs is the biggest investment bank in the world. Okay, so they give 10,000 crore to Goldman Sachs and they buy the bonds. Is that clear? Goldman Sachs will pass on this 10,000 crore to UCO Bank. Now see what happens. UCO Bank receives this 10,000 crore in cash. First thing. And this 10,000 crore home loans are gone. UCO did not. Your mic band karo yaar. Sorry, everybody, please check your mic. And I cannot close my window to mute you all, because if I close my window, the entire thing vanishes. So please make sure you all are on mute. So here, UCO has raised cash by selling the loans. Are you getting me or not? Fine. Now, agar dekho, if earlier your loan book was 1 lakh, that means your risky asset was 1 lakh crore. Yes or no? But now how much is your risky asset? Only 90,000 crore. That means your risky asset has also reduced by 10,000 crore. There is no risk on cash. What is the risk weight on cash? 0. Are you getting me or not? समझ आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा? Just type yes or no in the chat box.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that means loans are down from 1 lakh crore to 90,000 crore. So when the loan was 1 lakh crore, what was the minimum capital UCO had to keep? For 1 lakh crore, the capital charge was 9,000 crore. For 90,000, what will be the capital charge? 8.1 thousand crores. Yes or no? So can I say the capital adequacy ratio has improved? Capital adequacy ratio has improved. Yes or no? Did you understand this logic?
Yes, sir.
No need to take any deposit, no interest cost, no CRR, SLR problem. We simply sold these loans. Our risk level has gone down. Our capital adequacy ratio has improved. Up to this point, it is okay. Now see what happens. What will this Citibank do with all this? Now Citibank has passed on these loans as bonds to these qualified institutional buyers. They gave these 10,000 crore. This 10,000 crore is given to UCO Bank. Now these people, these home loan borrowers, they don't know that their loans have been sold. So every month they will give their EMI to UCO Bank. Okay. So what will UCO Bank do? UCO Bank will keep 2% their share and pass on the remaining EMI to Goldman Sachs. Is that clear? Now, every EMI has two components. Principal portion is separate, interest portion is separate. Goldman Sachs क्या करेगा? 8% interest he will put in this basket and the principal component will go in this basket. So what will happen after 1 year? After 1 year, these people will demand interest because they have purchased bonds. Yes or no? So let us say Ajitesh is a foreign investor. He has purchased bonds from Goldman Sachs. He will demand his 4% on this 10,000 crore. 4% on this 10,000 crore will be कितना हो जाएगा? 400 crore. He will demand his interest. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And on these 10,000 crore, 8% here, that means 800 crore is coming here. So out of this 800 crore, 400 crore we will pass on as interest payment to Ajitesh, foreign investor. 400 crore is my profit of this year. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now we will do this every year. Now what happens? After 15 years, what will happen? After 15 years, there will be full 10,000 crore over here. After 15 years, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
This 10,000 crore, after 15 years, this will go back to them. This is the principal is returned. Is that clear or not? समझ आया कि नहीं आया? So basically risk of, sir एक मिनट रुक जाओ सर, माइक बंद करो. Basically risk of these home loan borrowers is passed on to these investors. This is known as securitization. Basically, these were the receivables. These home loans were the receivables. This money had to come. This we converted into these payables, these bonds. So basically, risk of public was passed on to the public. This securitization is a very beautiful process to eliminate credit risk. Okay. होता क्या है? If this goes wrong, it causes a disaster. In 2008, what happened? All these home loan borrowers who were below the prime rating, who were subprime borrowers, they all defaulted. When they all defaulted, so Goldman Sachs, so this investment bank named as Lehman Brothers, he never had the money to pay interest to these qualified buyers, institutional buyers. As a result, Lehman Brothers also went bankrupt. As a result, these qualified institutional buyers also went bankrupt. As a result, the whole world economy collapsed. So this is what is securitization. Is that clear? So you can take a screenshot or you can draw it. It is your wish. इधर देखिए जी, ये स्पेशल एसपीबी क्या होता है, इधर सुनो, लिसन टू मी. When these loans are standard assets, when these home loans are standard assets, standard accounts, not NPA, this is SPV. They are purchased by SPV, special purpose vehicle. But if these home loans are NPA, bank अपने NPA भी तो sell करता है ना, bank sells its NPAs also. Then these are purchased by reconstruction companies, RC. Is that clear? So you can write it down that, let me write it down for you.
Sir, what is the role of sponsor?
सर वो जब मैं बताता हूँ, रुक जाओ, होल्ड करो. मतलब since this is a SPV, special purpose vehicle, okay, so if loan is standard, then they are sold to SPV. And if loan is NPA, then they are sold to ARC, Asset Reconstruction Company. RBI says that all the asset reconstruction companies in India should have a sponsor bank behind them. For example, SBI has their own asset reconstruction companies. So वहां पे sponsor आ जाता है, बस. वो ये डिटेल आपको JIB में चाहिए होती है अंडर सरफेसी एक्ट. You don't need this detail in CIB. In CIB, you have to understand this concept. See, he can ask you the question in theory. What is the benefit of securitization? Now, unless you understand these two slides, you cannot you cannot identify the benefit. So, have you noted this slide?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਰਿਸਕ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਂਕ ਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਗਾਰੰਟੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਨਾ, ਉਹ ਐਂਡ ਤੱਕ ਪਾਸ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ.
मैम इंज होता है, देखो सुनो, यूको बैंक सपोज करो इनमें से कुछ होम लोन्स, सम होम लोन्स बिकम एनपीए. तो जनरली व्हाट हैपेंस इफ सम लोन्स बिकम एनपीए, तो दिस एसपीवी, दिस इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंक विल टेल यूको बैंक, नहीं, हाँ, if some loans become NPA, UCO Bank will replace those loans with some other loans. पहली बात, okay? Or second is UCO Bank can simply sell their house, recover the money, and pass on that money to investment bank. But problem कहाँ आती है कि मान लो 50% लोन NPA हो गए, अब क्या करोगे? In America, what happened in 2008, in the subprime mortgage crisis, majority of the loans became NPA. And उसका एक major reason था one accounting rule, a bad accounting rule, which today is not there. ये accounting rule 1929 Great Depression के time पे भी था. फिर ये रूल उन्होंने चेंज कर दिया. Then this rule was reintroduced, and this rule, but that particular accounting rule was the major reason of that collapse of 2008. But after that, they again changed that rule. They said we don't want that rule. So due to one accounting rule, ये major crash हुआ. वो rule क्या था? Basically, let us say Mr. Ajitesh has purchased a house on the coast of, let us say, Odisha, a very beautiful coastal town of Odisha. He has bought a house for 2 crore rupees, against which he has a loan of 1.5 crore rupees. So 50 lakh is his money, 1.5 crore is the loan. Everything is going fine. But all of a sudden there is a hurricane warning that a hurricane is going to hit the coast of Odisha. So when this news comes, there are these fire brigade people and other rescue teams, they come to his town and while Ajitesh is locking his house to go to a safer place, he finds Madam Deepti, the banker, standing there. वो कहती है अजितेश पैसा निकाल. Ajitesh कहता मैडम I'm giving you all the EMIs on time. She says, see, listen, today this house is under threat. I don't know, I want my money back. Because tomorrow if the house is blown away by the hurricane, who will pay my loan? So now Ajitesh says that how can I give you your 1.5 crore in 5 minutes? I don't have this 1.5 crore. So Deepti says, I don't care. Do whatever it is. Okay, you don't have it? So साथ में ही there is a fire brigade person known as Mr. Madhu Sai. He is standing. So sorry, Mr. Madhu, you are fire brigade person because I can see you on the screen. Your camera is visible. Okay, so I can see Deepti, Ajitesh, and you. So you three people are in my example. So immediately Deepti madam asks Mr. Madhu that, Mr. Madhu, will you buy this house? Madhu says, okay, I will buy this house for 10 lakh rupees or 20 lakh rupees right now. Boom. Now what happens? The price of the house of Mr. Ajitesh, which was marked at 2 crore, suddenly is marked down at 20 lakh. Now, because of this accounting rule, there was a crisis, massive crisis. The housing prices started to crash. Okay. Now, what happened when the housing prices started to crash? Now, let us say some other home loan borrower who bought a house in the neighboring town for 2 crore and took a loan of 1.5 crore. He says the value of my house is below 1 crore and the loan is 1.5 crore. He went to the bank, he gave the house of the keys. Usne kaha, madam, you please keep the house. I am going Tata bye-bye. Because the loan is 1.5 crore, house is of 1 crore. Am I stupid? Who will pay the loan? You keep the house. I'm going. Bye. I will take some place on rent. End of the story. This was one of the major reasons of disaster in 2008. This one accounting rule. So hua kya, when there was a massive defaults on home loans, this investment bank, which was known as Lehman Brothers and other investment bank, they did not get the money to pay the interest for the bonds. As a result, when the date of payment of interest came, Lehman Brothers said, I don't have the money. And Lehman Brothers, this investment bank, declared bankruptcy. So when this interest payment did not go, so who were these qualified institutional buyers? Let me tell you, ICICI Bank. So if there is some banker who was working in 2008, do you remember? In 2008, ICICI Bank was in such a big crisis. It was on the verge of bankruptcy. So that was the securitization ka effect tha. Okay, this securitization going wrong. ICICI Bank, big pension funds of Europe, America, all the big mutual funds who had put money in these bonds, they died. Big pension funds died. All the Buddhas in Europe were left without pension. ICICI Bank lost a lot of money. So this is what happens when securitization goes bad. Samajh aaya ji ki nahi? Did you understand this thing? So just take a screenshot of this page also. It will be easy for you to remember. Mr. Joseph, China is also in a very big crisis because of their housing problem. China had इतना उन्होंने inventory build up कर लिया that there is not enough. People are now defaulting on the. People have stopped paying EMIs in China. China is a big problem, but the government rules with an iron fist. But they will get out of it. These Chinese, they are very hard. Means I know Chinese firsthand because I have a lot of friends who are Chinese. When I used to study, so 50% there were Chinese in my class. And trust me, Indians are no match for Chinese. They are way more intelligent, hardworking than us. There's a reason. And there's a scientific reason behind it. There's a big difference in an IQ level of an Indian and a Chinese. They have a much higher IQ level. An average Chinese has a much higher IQ level. I mean, there is nothing to be, this is a reality. They are way aggressive than us. Like we treat Pakistan as our enemy country, they treat us as an enemy, their core enemy. They are very बहुत ज़्यादा है उनके अंदर. Secondly, one of my friends, her father was this geologist, seismologist basically, who used to detect earthquakes, all these earthquake movements. Her mother was a helicopter scientist, so who used to do research on engineer cum scientist. So she told me. So ek bar we all were sitting together. She said that show me the photographs of all your cousins, culture, and when I showed her the photograph of all the cousins, so that time she told me that we don't have any cousin because of that one child policy. So she said we don't have any cousin. They don't have any chacha, taya, and a mama, mausi, nothing. And she said that for this reason we are very self-centered people. We don't know how to share. Like you people have a lot of cousins, you share with your cousins, friends. She says we don't have that habit of sharing. So it was a very different thing. So China nikal jayega. They are very strong. Plus China and Russia, they have joined forces together. Because both survival issue hai na. Russia is not fighting Ukraine. Russia is fighting America. Russia is basically fighting NATO. Ukraine की कोई मजाल थोड़ो है. ये तो आप सोच लो कि भी what is Ukraine in front of Russia? What is Sri Lanka in front of India? Tell me. कुछ भी नहीं है. But imagine, America is supplying, Europe is supplying all the best weapons to Sri Lanka. Then it is a challenge. Then it is a big challenge. Chaliye, now. So now you understand what is securitization. You don't have to read this because you will not understand it. If you have understood the example that I have given you, that is more than enough. What are the advantages of this? Also, I have already told you, you can read them. Your risk is reduced. You don't have to maintain any CRR, SLR. Your capital adequacy ratio is up. Your logged funds get released. All these things. If you see this example, so for UCO Bank, the 10,000 crore that was logged is released. The risk level has gone down. Capital adequacy ratio has improved. No need to maintain any CRR, SLR. No need to maintain any to raise any deposit. Okay, all these are the benefits which are written here. Next is credit risk mitigation through credit derivatives. Now understand this concept. In this, you get a question from credit default swaps. Now, what is a credit default swap? Please look here. Now, please look here. This is a, let us say, this is a company A. He has taken a lot of exposure in debt of India Bulls. He has purchased a lot of bonds, or he has a lot of exposure in shares of India Bulls. Okay. Now, India Bulls has to pay him interest and every year and principal at the end. Now, he is very scared because India Bulls is not in good health. It can be India Bulls, it can be Vodafone India. Okay, they are not in good health. So he is very scared because he has given a lot of money to these companies. So he wants to basically save himself, insure himself. So he goes to a company B who is a protection seller. He wants to buy protection. He's a protection buyer. So he says, I want to buy protection. He says, okay, I will sell protection. When you go to LIC to buy protection, you pay some premium. In this case, it is known as premium, or it is also known as fees. So he will pay the fees to this company every year as some percentage of the exposure, and he will give them the protection. Is that clear or not? Is it okay? Just like LIC, till the time you are giving premium. प्रोटेक्शन का क्या मतलब होता है? बचाओ. LIC के पास आप जब पैसा देते हो तो LIC प्रोटेक्शन नहीं देती आपकी फैमिली को. आपको कुछ हो जाए, LIC आपके बच्चों को और बाकी परिवार को पैसे देता है ना, तो प्रोटेक्शन हुई ना ये. ओके, तो
डेट ऑफ कंपनी का तो हिंदी में एक्सप्लेन कर दीजिए.
डेट मतलब कर्जा यार.
नहीं सर, ये पॉलिसी डिफॉल्ट पूरा बताएं तो थोड़ा हिंदी में बताएं.
अजितेश जी, तो मेरी कहानी शुरू हुई है यार, कहानी सुनो तो सही.
अच्छा ठीक है.
दिस कंपनी ए, इसको मान लेते हैं भाई अजितेश. ओके, दिस कंपनी बी, लेट अस टेक इट एज दीप्ति. Ajitesh has invested 10 or maybe 1,000 crores. Ajitesh has given it as a debt to India Bulls or Vodafone. India Bulls लगा लो या Vodafone लगा लो, and Vodafone has to pay interest to Ajitesh every year and principal at the end of 5 years or 10 years, whatever is the maturity of this loan. But Vodafone is in trouble. So Ajitesh goes to Deepti madam. He says, madam, you are a big insurance company or you are a big corporate. So Ajitesh feels that Vodafone can default. Deepti doesn't think that Vodafone can default. So Ajitesh will give some fees or premium every year to Deepti. And Deepti promises that if something happens to Vodafone, if Vodafone defaults, default is known as a credit event. If Vodafone defaults, I will pay you protection. That means I will pay you compensation. Compensation is your loss, basically. Loss amount. Okay, whatever loss you are bearing, I will pay you. So this is known as a credit default swap. See, Ajitesh has given credit to Vodafone. If there is a default means this credit event. If Vodafone defaults on interest payment or principal, there will be a swap. Swap means Ajitesh will give these bonds to Madam Deepti and he will tell Madam Deepti, yellow bonds, the 1000 crore ke, and you give me 1000 crore. Or one is this thing, or simply Deepti will pay him the loss, whatever Ajitesh is suffering. Is that clear? This is known as a credit default swap. This is an off-balance sheet exposure, off-balance sheet transaction. This question has also come. because it is contingent in nature. It may or may not happen. Vodafone may or may not default.
सर
Is
ये
it clear?
हुई ना फिर
Note it down, please.
सर ये एक तरह की गारंटी है ना
इंश्योरेंस है यार.
ओके
Anji, have you noted it?
Yes, sir.
क्रेडिट इवेंट जो बताया था इसको हिंदी में क्या बताया सर? वर्ड में वो भूल गया सर.
यार फिर समझ लो इसको. Please again understand this question. This is company A. They have exposure in, let us say, in bonds. Let us say 1,000 crore bonds of Vodafone. Vodafone India. Okay. So Vodafone India is not in a very good financial health. So he has a very high risk. So to save himself, to cover the risk, he will pay some premium to this protection seller. This can be another big corporate. This premium every year, and this corporate will give him this protection that in case there is a credit event means default. Default, either on interest or on principal, he will pay as a protection. That means pay the loss. Is that clear? समझ आ गया जी कि whatever is the loss, protection seller will bear that loss and give the money to the protection buyer. That's all.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Now, so in credit default swap, all you have to remember is, now in credit derivatives, there are two derivatives. One is known as credit default swap. Another is known as credit linked note. credit linked note is generally आपको नहीं आता. You get a question only on credit default swap. First, let us read credit default swaps. First, you have to remember it is a off-balance sheet transaction. This question has come. Credit default swap is off because it's a contingent transaction. Vodafone may or may not default. अब इधर देखो ना, it is just like insurance. If Vodafone does not default, all the fees that you are paying to the protection seller is the profit. Yeah, देखो ना, let us say you take an insurance policy from LIC, term policy up to 60 years. So if the person does not die before 60, whatever premium you have given to LIC is the profit of LIC. But if the person dies before 60, what will happen? LIC will pay that money, sum assured, to the family of that person. Is it clear? Same thing. It is a contingent liability here. The protection buyer pays a fees through the life of the contract in return for a credit event payment by the protection seller following a credit event. In case the credit event does not occur, the protection seller continues to receive the payment. And in case of occurring of credit event, that means in case of default, the protection buyer will receive the payment, whatever is the loss. Is that clear? That's all you have to remember in credit default swap. Okay. And one question came. How this question came, let me tell you. So one more minute and our credit risk is over. The question came, he said that there is a highly rated borrower of your bank. He approaches the bank and he tells that he needs 400 crore. Okay, so let us say he has a steel plant. He needs 400 crores in loan. Now, we all know that you have in the bank, you have sectoral limits that in this particular sector, you cannot give more than this much loan or more than this exposure. Okay, so for you, the problem is you already have high exposure in steel. You can give only 100 crores to him. But the problem is he needs 400 crores. Now you are in a very big problem because if this borrower is angry, then you lose a very good borrower. He's a safe borrower. But what do? Your policy doesn't allow you to give more money because you have already have very high exposure. You can only give 100 crores. So you have two options. Option number one is you arrange funds from other banks like a consortium financing. Arrange funds from other banks. Okay, in that case, you give 100. So you bring two other banks. Let us say you bring SBI and PNB along with you. And they give him 150 or whatever it is. Option two is you give him 400 crores. Okay. And for the 300 crore that you have given extra, you book a credit default swap for yourself. so that in case this person dies or this party defaults, your 300 crore is safe. Is that clear? Option 2 is give the loan and protect yourself with a CDS, credit default swap. Now this question came in theory. The same example the same question he gave you, and there were 4 options. One option was bank can give this loan and book a credit default swap to cover his position. That's all.
But
This question has
they don't have exposure, they can give.
मैम हाँ कि बैंक अपना एक्सपोजर कवर कर लेगा ना इन फॉर्म ऑफ अ क्रेडिट डिफॉल्ट स्वैप.
सर
हाँ जी.
ये थोड़ा सा बताना हिंदी 400 करोड़ वाला.
यार वो 400 करोड़ उसको चाहिए, ठीक है. बैंक 100 करोड़ से ज्यादा दे नहीं सकता क्योंकि बैंक की एक्सपोजर, चलो आप मान लो बैंक दे ही नहीं सकता क्योंकि बैंक ऑलरेडी इस सेक्टर में बहुत एक्सपोजर ले चुका है. तो फिर आप इस बॉरर को नीड कैसे पूरी करोगे? आप उसे 400 करोड़ दोगे और इस 400 करोड़ को अपना इंश्योर कर लोगे सीडीएस के साथ, क्रेडिट डिफॉल्ट स्वैप के साथ. उसमें आपके सिर पे कोई रिस्क नहीं है. ठीक है,
ठीक है सर. ओके.
ये क्वेश्चन आया है. या एब्सोल्युटली सेम लाइक सीडीडी एमएससी कवरेज. ओके. So with this, we finish our credit risk. Have a break for 5 minutes and then we start with operational risk. हाँ जी अजय कुमार जी बोलिए.
This credit link, no.
छोड़ दो, leave it. Now have a break for 5 minutes. It is 9:06. We will start at 9:12, 9:13. ठीक है, and then we will start with. हाँ जी बोलो सर.
सर जो 300 करोड़ रिमेनिंग है वो भी तो बैंक ही देगी ना सर उसको.
सर आप उसको लगा लो ना कि आप सोच लो कि बैंक उसे कुछ भी नहीं दे सकता. ठीक है, 10 मिनट्स की ब्रेक ले लो. 10 मिनट्स की ब्रेक ले लो. बैंक जो भी देगा
सबको सीडीएस में
सीडीएस के साथ कवर करेगा. ठीक है, सीडीएस के साथ कवर करेगा.
ओके.
चलिए.